Welcome to The Lost Signals Discusses Film and TV. Using the revolutionary Manzur-Ramosi Thurlow scale,
or MOTS,
we scrupulously review these art forms with an emphasis on narrative structure. Join us for another entertaining episode.
Welcome back, my friends, to The Lost Signals, and have we got a treat for you tonight. I am your host, Colonel Angus Scott Thurlow. I'm here with my fellow Southerner chefs, Jonathan Ian Manzer.
Finger looking good.
Stephen Amosi.
Our secret's out, podcast men.
And Chris Morgan.
Honey barbecue.
Indeed. And yes, so it's not, I want to say this is a joke episode, but we had this idea, and if you're not aware of this fact, KFC, yes, that KFC, the chicken fast food chain, put out a lifetime, it's not a movie, it's a life, we'll call it. Yep. It's about 15 minutes long, starring, if you're watching this, Mario Lopez and Stevo's background, as Colonel Harlan Sanders himself, as a chef in a well-to-do. So my logline, sorry, before I get into it, the logline is Gone with the Colonel, is what I've come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's essentially I guess an ad for KFC, but it's a really well done parody of Lifetime-ish shit, condensed into 15 minutes. So we're not gonna motz it all the way through. We are gonna give our scores in a sec, and then we're gonna talk about how bizarre it is in general that this fucking thing exists, and something else as well. So, having said that, let's go to our scores it's called Recipe for Seduction, obviously. And with that, Chris, what do you score on a MOT scale Recipe for Seduction as?
Okay. Well, I'm actually giving plot a 2. I gave it a 1.5, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because I have to say all the tropes were there. The gay best friend.
Nothing but tropes.
Yeah. And I also liked the violence in it was pretty the most it was like kindergartners putting on hitting each other over the head. It was quite funny. Themes I'm giving it a 1. It totally gave me the vapors of all the spices, the seasoning. I'm giving antagonist a 1. Ian, I agree. I'm going to give protagonist a 0. You did talk me into that. Spoiler on you and score. Supporting characters, well, I got to give the Colonel a 1, and he's not the main character. Dialogue, I have to give a 1. I mean, when the topic of conversation comes the secret, it's just the secret recipe of this chicken is kind of somewhere between nonchalant and the Death Star plans. So it's
both of them at once somehow. Yes.
Style gets a 1 just for Mario Lopez's blue rinse hair. And dude, it's 16 minutes. I fucking highly recommend it.
Yep. All right, Steve-O, what'd you score?
So what was your final score there, Chris?
8? My final score is an 8.
Jesus. All right. Well,
One off for plot.
I mean,
one off.
I will.
It's a better film than MASH.
Well, surely, but I will say this. I'm taking this with a grain of salt, but I think we're all going to give this a pretty good score because it was an enjoyable 16 minutes.
I'm taking.
I don't think anybody's going to claim it's a masterpiece of film, but except for maybe Ian. I'm waiting for his argument. But so I'm going to give it a 7. Plot 1, theme 0, antag 1, protag. I put in 1, but I might take a point off for the protag actually. She wasn't great. So I'm going to make that a 0. Supporting 1 for sure. Harlan Sanders, which I love how most characters just left off the D at the end of his name in this movie.
That was quite inconsistent. Yeah,
because they're in the South, I guess, sort of vaguely.
Dialogue, 1 for sure. Just hilarious. Style, 1, and recommend 1. I think that this movie's almost plays the tropes so straight that it's almost not even a parody. It's almost
It
just
laps
a
itself back,
KFC fucking
kind of.
movie about like KFC Lifetime movie.
On one hand, you have a Family Guy gag on one of the spectrum of this. Now you have Mac and Me, which is a legitimate movie that they're trying to rip off of E.T., but add McDonald's into it. This is between the two. This is such a meta level where I can't distinguish whether it's ironic or not.
Yeah.
Because it's Lifetime and KFC taking the piss out of themselves, but they're the ones that developed all of these tropes. It's almost like it's somewhere closer to Space Jam, where Space Jam was Nike and Michael Jordan making fun of themselves, but also playing it straight to a
But
certain
also get a new
level.
pair of Nikes.
It's a really I'm themes. By the way, thank you for bringing up the language thing about his name, because obviously that's showing that Colonel Sanders is a man of the working class, and that obviously these rich folk did not even consider him worthy of having a name Chicken Man. Besides that, so thus KFC could be the unifier between classes that we really need in America today, which is not what they're going for. They're going to sell KFC, and I wanted to eat KFC after watching this film, so it succeeded 100% in the things it wanted to do. So it's giving 7 overall for a lot of the same reasons. 2 points off for plot. It's a generic protagonist, and yeah, I fully recommend it.
I mean, I'm following suit. So 1 to plot, 2 points off there, and 0 to protagonist, because I thought if Jessica is indeed the protagonist, and Colonel Holland Sanders is for sure a side character, maybe the most important, most entertaining one. So yeah, on the mod scale, it's a 7, enjoyable, etc. So there's our scores, condensed briefly.
Really quick before we get
What's
off of
the
this
aggregate,
topic, nobody really talked about the antagonists, and I just want to give them a shout out for being so fucking over the top and ridiculous. It was
I mean,
perfect.
Simo, I disagree. They're not over the top. They're exactly the Lifetime protagonist.
What, they
antagonist that
fucking
it's supposed
hit
to be.
people in the head with shovels and shit. It's like a goddamn cartoon.
It's
I
over
love
the top.
I love how
Like
her
Space
mother,
Jam shit.
the mother and the would-be fiance were having an affair, and they want to get
Because
married
obviously,
for
dude.
the money and to keep having an affair. It's like ew. Ew.
Yeah, but that's every Lifetime movie ever. Like that's
First of all,
Steve's
don't-
point. Like it's everything you've ever seen condensed into this.
Do you know what this also kind of weirdly reminded me of Comrade Detective too.
All right, that's a deep pull, but not a bad one either. I don't know what that comes out to. I'll give you the score later. It's at what 877.
Mine was actually a 6 because I took one off for.
So 7 overall.
Okay, yeah.
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 Sure, fine. And yes, I mean I enjoy KFC anyways, and I wouldn't have mind running down to the local one after this movie and picking up some meals.
So there's a lot of questions that obviously this raises, and we're going to talk about this movie for longer than the movie actually existed for. But some questions that come up with one is the adult entertainment version of this Long John Silver?
I mean,
Yes.
not that too much of a stretch.
Second of all, did Lifetime initiate this? Did KFC initiate this? Which one of them was taking the piss more out of the other? Was this a collaboration? When is the Wendy's movie coming out? This one I'm actually getting from a website, but they're saying that because it's KFC, Taco Bell, and what's the third one?
Pizza Hut.
Pizza
No.
Hut, yeah.
Yeah, Pizza Hut.
Is this going to be an Infinity War style saga that's built up? All right, but legitimately, narrative-wise, though, there are plot issues that come up. One is the wannabe fiance steals the recipe for the 11 herbs and spices. That's never resolved, except he comes back eating the chicken afterwards. Did he steal the persona from Colonel Sanders and build KFC in that universe using his secrets? This one is not from me, but it's from Melissa Bell. What does it feel like to be cuckolded by Colonel Sanders?
Won't know pretty soon, I guess.
There's a lot that goes on here. How did he become a colonel? There's a lot that is open to
Yeah.
a second movie.
Yeah, Beth.
I need
Beth's
those
like,
answers.
when is he gonna join the military?
I thought he's already retired is implied to me, but I guess your mileage may vary here.
I thought when he smacked the guy with his head after he was captured and put it in the garden shed, that he was gonna be like, I learned that in the military, and he was rank colonel.
I was just say I love how terrible the villains are at like hiding their victims and holding on to them. They like knock out Lee, the best friend, and then keep him captive, I guess, for like a scene. And then the next thing you know, what's her name? Bunny comes running in like, Lee's escaped. Just kill this motherfucker.
And he's in the shed, of course. Like, listen, I'm sorry that we probably won't be able to resolve all these potholes which are apparently many within this 15-minute little thing. Right? It does raise a lot of questions given the nature of it. But to answer one of yours, or one of them, is that my theories, I don't know if this is true. I didn't do much research at all. But I conjecture to you gentlemen that someone in the marketing department of KFC is like, you know, it'd be funny, like, let's do this. And they, it got essentially greenlit eventually. And yeah, they're like, hey, Lifetime would be cool with this, right? Like, they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Give them some money. They don't give a shit. Like, put it out, like, and then we'll sell some more tickets. People think it'd be funny. And is the case.
I for sure think it must have been KFC's idea, and then there was like, yo, Lifetime, you'll fucking sign off on this shit. You'll put anything on your channel.
Exactly.
Just enjoy the idea of a bunch of Lifetime people like hating their lives, right? They're eating KFC on the writers' break and like, hey, what if we made a movie about Colonel Sanders? And they're like, KFC would be down for this shit.
Done.
Oh,
Hey, wait, we have, but no, I want to get back to that Billy plot, because if we're saying now Billy has a secret recipe, then hashtag not my chicken, hashtag not my colonel.
Jesus God, I'm glad you had that prepared. That is amazing, Chris. Yeah, so I guess right in the canon of KFC, of the history of fictional Colonel Sanders, then like really it's Billy like as the imposter of him, like he just hijacked his whole life, right? Stole the recipe, started up the franchises, like after he's been spurned by Jessica, who didn't want to marry him.
But what would drive me crazy, like I don't know, maybe that's the case, but why would they still be trying to track him down after all this time after they get married?
Because he's about to expose that Colonel Sanders never existed. It was just some chef.
Yeah,
it's the greatest conspiracy of our generation.
it's like JFK, but KFC. But so that's about the movie. Before we move on, or I had something else to segue into, but anyone else have anything to say about the actual little plot that they've made itself?
No, I think it basically speaks for itself. I'm all right.
I mean, go watch it. It's free on YouTube. It's free everywhere. Like we said, 15 minutes of your life, you won't regret it. Trust me. But I guess the bigger thing is like, it's so, maybe it's not so bizarre, but it's amazing that this thing exists at all. Whoever decided to do it, whether it was Lifetime or KFC or whatever joint partnership they decided upon, that they just made it like as a sort of meme / joke / prank, etc. And it exists. And on top of that, I told you guys this, and if anyone else listening does not know, KFC, in addition to this project, has put out a legit console that basically like a small, like a condensed PC, but in which the gimmick is it uses the heat filter to fucking like warm your chicken. It has like a little tray to put your chicken in. I swear to you, look it up. Like it's a real thing you can buy for like $100, $200 or whatever, like if you so choose. But I guess the weird thing, or the overarching thing, is like they're just getting to like I don't know how to say it, like guerrilla meme marketing or like something like that. Like I don't know how to describe like what they're doing with this shit. So what do you guys think about all that?
I was gonna actually say this. I think it feels like they, like the fast food companies, after getting their asses handed them for years by like Wendy's Twitter, are are like, all right, we need to really like buckle down and
Fire
get these
back.
memes flowing, you know, like we need to start our own fucking meme stash. And yeah, like that's what it feels like. It feels like they're all fucking hiring 25-year-olds to like write their, copy now. And you know what? I'm for it. Let's keep doing this type of shit. Like if you're gonna do any kind of commercials or ads or whatever, at least make them interesting. And like I'm looking forward to seeing whatever the crazy shit they do next is. I'm certainly not gonna buy one of those consoles though.
Yeah, but I also
Wouldn't,
to
but-
say, since they're all owned by the same people, and the sequel, how wrong will it be, like if the Taco Bell Chihuahua shows up?
No, it'd be amazing. As Ian said, Endgame like shit. Like they're seeding all the ingredients, if you will,
Mhm.
right? So it all like it's gonna be Colonel versus the Chihuahua versus Wendy, versus Ronald McDonald, etc.
They have a secret meeting at the Pizza Hut under the red roof.
And thank you, Chris. That reminded me, like, real quickly. In fact, the end of this little short does have sequel bait, in which they set up like a possible continuation. So, to your point, Steve-O, I would love to see more of these, like, continuation of the narrative story, such as it is, like, going forward.
Like to me, this is it's obviously very gimmicky. So I'd rather see them do something new than like expand this story for like the next 3 years or whatever.
Or maybe they'll
Like,
do it in a different style or something.
Maybe one
No,
other
no,
one of these like little mini movies would be
They
fine. but
promised a sequel. No.
Yeah, like they owe us a follow up, at least one more. That's all.
Unless they decide to do genre hopping.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if you do something interesting and new with it, I just don't want like just you follow up with the sequel to this exact movie.
A Nabokov-based Wendy is working with
Like I
that.
said,
That'd be amazing.
But the thing is, like, I just want to. I enjoyed the fact that Lifetime is self-aware enough to know how silly it is, and that was kind of it. Not just the KFC thing is the gimmicky thing here, but Lifetime just deciding to like, fuck it, we know what we are.
fun with themselves.
Let's have a little fun with how ridiculous we are. And I actually, that's I think where the heart, because there is no heart in KFC, as much as they're trying to sell Mario Lopez as the heart of KFC. The heart in it is that Lifetime was actually being like, yeah, you're right, we are very silly. What happened to Tanya and stuff like that. Like, and I enjoyed that it was willing to poke fun of itself. So I have to give it credit for that.
No, I'm glad this exists, and yeah, Steve, sure, if they're hiring a bunch of younger Gen Zs, millennials, sure, like make an ad that's interesting. / again, I suppose we'll say within the conventions of the meta use of our times, that like seems to be almost like becoming its own art form / genre unto itself. And sure, if KFC is the one gonna sort of kickstart it in a sense, why not? Like whatever, fine.
Yeah.
But this has been like, remember the Burger King video game
Like kind of, yeah, sure.
where the king was prowling around? Like,
Yeah,
this kind of shit has happened forever.
7-Eleven had a video game. The Noid had a video game from Domino's. Like,
Yeah, they were just
Oh, 7-Up was one of my favorite.
Yeah,
or
video games from
7 Up.
Domino's.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
But like that,
Cool
the
spot.
idea of creating entertainment off of brands isn't anything new. I just like,
You're right. That's true. Like that's actually like
Yeah.
a more serious point. It's nothing new per se, but maybe the way they're doing it is like again within the way that the zeitgeist is blowing in the wind, if you will. I guess I'll say.
no, I see that.
Yeah. Well,
So no, man. Like again, there's not much to say about this, but I do think it's interesting. Like this sort of like a fun one for us just to talk about it because it's now in the pop culture sphere, and it's a thing that exists, which is somewhat hasn't quite been done in this way to this degree in the modern times. And like I said, I think anyone who has watched this little short is owed a follow-up because they definitely promise. Well, like they bait you, like Chris said, it's 100% a sequel bait, if you will, like in a very broad way.
Yeah, but they do that because it's a Lifetime ripoff movie, not because it necessarily has a sequel coming
I
in.
still feel
But-
like we're owed one. I demand everybody should hashtag KFC like what Chris was saying and be like, yo, where's episode 2? Where's the next shit?
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. I watched this movie with my roommate, and like drunkenly, last
I like how you called it a movie.
end of last weekend or whatever. And I've watched it twice now because I watched it again today. And I was like, all right, I gotta like fully take this all in now.
Mhm.
But like it works on two viewings. In fact, all the jokes were still just as funny upon second viewing, and it's short enough where it doesn't like get annoying or ever drag or anything like
Welcome.
that.
Yeah.
But now he's like downstairs trying to convince his girlfriend to watch it. Like, so I think it's gonna grow limbs and really branch out. I'm
Go viral.
excited to see it.
And yeah, like I guess we'll say like yes, it's certainly I guess more conducive to watching unsober.
Yeah.
we'll call it. Sure, you got like a little bit more entertainment out of it than versus like being stone cold not sober. But
I thought it was funny regardless of it.
Yeah, I was stone cold sober. The one thing I did notice though, because I actually did in preparation buy some chicken tenders.
It worked.
oh, it worked right again. Yeah.
If you look at, but
on
if you look on the
effectiveness.
back, if you look on the back, here's this Colonel's tie. But if you look at it from distance, it looks like pie.
Yeah.
That's
it's-
hidden messages. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's
there's-
Illuminati.
there's
What's
some-
going on there?
What's the
There's few problems
symbology
that
there?
there's few problems that chicken can't solve. Pie.
I'm trying to see how close it is to Mario's. Can't really see in this
Watch that.
picture.
I think it's pretty close. It's pretty spot on. Like they got the artists working hard on that shit. But oh man, like what if they had made a KFC specific video game for their KFC specific console, then maybe that would have been a bigger selling point on top of that.
That's gonna be
Or-
the first exclusive.
Or we can do a riff on the movie Pie with KFC.
Mhm.
There's lots of angles to explore with this shit, like more than we thought perhaps.
Wait, you could do a walking sim where you have to go steal the recipe back from Billy.
Or it's like, yo, dude, Chris, that's so good. Also, it's like a while ago, three of us, me, Ian, and Siva went to the VR thing and played like job simulator. So just like you making the fucking chicken in VR. They got to make the secret recipe correctly, otherwise the chicken won't sell. And boom, you're welcome for that.
I would totally be Mario. What's his name?
Mario Lopez.
Mario Lopez in
Mario
VR. Yeah, that
Lopez.
works.
Good old Emlo.
I don't know. It's just I'm so glad this exists. It's like a brief flash of like joy / like diversion in the horribleness of the rest of our lives, in the world in general. That it's just amazing that this was greenlit and made and is now out in the world, and you can go check it out and enjoy it at your leisure. And now it's like forever, like maybe 5-10 years later, we'll be like, remember that time KFC made like a weird Lifetime little parody for like
Yeah. To come up like all the memes we used to watch, 10 years ago from
Yeah. and like
Yeah.
he said, maybe other fast food ish like institutions will follow suit and sort of like try to outdo each other in shit like this, and then we will have a Avengers Endgame like overarching huge narrative to combine them all with.
The
We can only hope.
Nabokov Wendy's thing is. I dare. That was a great idea, and I dare Wendy's to do that. I dare them.
Call us, Wendy's.
Yeah, we'll tweet it. We'll tweet it for them. We're like, hey Wendy's, at your account, here's our idea, make it happen.
Amazing.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. You guys got anything else to add? And forgot. Like, again, I know there's not much to say, but it's interesting. and
I
funny
do
as hell.
have one last one.
Okay.
What fast food restaurant plus forgotten B-list or C-list or D-list celebrity would you want to cast? I'm thinking Ronald McDonald and Kevin Sorbo or something like that.
All right, let me think about
God.
it. And that's a good question.
Never give Kevin Sorbo any more work for the rest of his life. Guy's a
Nah,
fucking lunatic.
might
We
be the
can
most-
redeem him.
That might be the most interesting best pop culture podcast question that we could discuss right now. Give me a second. You guys got anything at the top of your head?
Or just
I
give
think my-
Lucy Lawless, Wendy's.
Yeah, but she was an Evil Dead, so like she hasn't really gone away. Like
That's true. She was also in Parks and Rec, so.
So So like, all right, how about this? I'm trying to think of my other. I actually like KFC, like I said, like legitimately, like it's one of my favorite fast food joints. So I'm trying to think of other ones that are like in the same vein that I like that I would like to see them do this with.
Or who would pay a good hamburger?
Or who would be yeah.
And who would what?
Who would be a good hamburger?
Okay. Like a la Tarantino.
Christian Slater would be a perfect hamburger.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's actually quite good. I was gonna say McConaughey in one of these things. Rolling into town, being like, "All right, this town needs a fast food joint," and like, "Yo, insert fast food joint here," and he'll start doing it.
I want to cast Terry Crews as the Grimace.
All right, that's pretty good. Solid. Oh, I feel like McDonald's already is like pretty big presence. Chris, you got
Yeah, that's true. They've already had cartoons and shit.
I actually kind of have two. Bruce Boxleitner for IHOP, and how about somebody like Peter North or Jenna Jameson for In-N-Out Burger?
Oh, that's really good. That is fantastic.
Nice.
I like it, buddy.
Very
Very nice.
But isn't it IHOB now? They
No, I
changed
think
their
they
name to
I
International
think
Awesome
it failed
Burgers.
miserably.
changed it
Yeah,
back.
I think they changed it.
We could do a Tron thing with that whole thing. IHOP, you know.
But I did want to mention that because it was like in a similar vein to this. It was just like a gimmicky attempt to like drum up some support. Unfortunately for IHOP, this worked much better than I think than changing their name to International.
They didn't hire us to make them a fucking a Lifetime Virgin movie.
That's right.
That's their mistake right there.
But
For sure.
Although I think more of our bag would be what's that horror streaming service?
Chiller.
Chiller.
No, that's
Or we got Chiller original.
Asylum, like shit, like
yeah.
Sure, yeah, that would be our forte. But hey, if any of the companies are listening, we're here.
Oh, also,
got some
how did
ideas.
we forget how did Kumar go to White Castle? That's the
original
Baltimore version of this.
You're right.
Fucking-
that's a perfect example. Yeah, sure.
5 hours of movies later, KFC thinks they're tough. White Castle did this shit
They were way
like
they were in
20
before.
times as much.
Jesus, yeah, true. God, good fucking. I forgot about that altogether.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah,
True.
man, like honestly, I guess that means I think we've just proven that there's room to grow in this area, and
Sure.
there's a lot of ideas out there that can be collaborated together to produce another thing, monster thing like this, if you will.
Yeah.
That could be very effective. That could be like maybe the next huge meme or something. I don't know.
Hollywood, call us.
Yeah,
We're on this.
we're available. All right.
Yeah,
We're here. We'll work all day, every day, all TLS, all the time, and whatever you want us to do, do it.
We don't sell out at all.
Hit us up.
Let's get Hollywood on the horn on this one.
I would never sell. Period. Right. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's, I suppose, pretty much it. Again, if you guys got anything else to add, I think we got more. We squeezed, if you will, more out of this than possibly you could think on the surface that might be there.
That's on brand for us, though.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Standard move.
Yep. So if think that'll do it, my dudes. I mean, I love KFC and I love Colonel Sanders and I love this little skit and I want to see more of it. I have been Scott Thurlow here with my fellow secret recipe conspirators, Chris Morgan.
It's finger licking good.
Stephen Amosi.
Got my 13 herbs and spices, and I'll see you later.
And Jonathan Ian Manzi.
Just a flood of ideas right now for different ridiculous movies.
And with that, we'll see you next time. And maybe you see some of our ideas in fast food commercials. Good night and cheers.
Editing and engineering by Christopher Morgan. Music by Christopher Morgan. Check us out on YouTube and iTunes for the shows, and on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Or Mott's?